This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 12. I'm going to start at verse 15. Looking diligently, lest any man fail of the grace of Yahweh, while Yahweh shy, lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble you, and thereby many be defiled. Verse 16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. I want to start off by giving all praises, all honor, all praises, all honor, all glory to Kol Haloyim La Yahweh, Ba Hashem Yahushai, Ba Hashem Chakodas Bakatham. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim out here pushing this truth throughout the four corners of the earth, risking their lives and their freedom to do so. Shalom to the Akwat and the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is an edifying video. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of the other nations, appearing like the other nations, but subscribing to this truth. To you, I say shalom. It's the brother Yahweh Sop out of the GMS Cleveland Church, fellow servant, coming at you with another lesson through the Spirit and through the power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Came across this article, Lord willing, is edifying. It says kissrocks.com. West Virginia man faces 315 charges for sexual assault of juvenile relative. So I got this from that well, I can't say she a Judite, but that Jake, she's a Jake definitely. That Elder Malcolm hit me on to, because she be bringing out a lot of information. You know what I mean? She's diligent on doing that. She brings out a lot of information, and I think she know in her spirit that she is Israelite. You know what I mean? That's why I said definitely. Well, I just said I think, so that's a contradiction. But I've heard her make mention of certain things. Put it like that. So I think she's aware that she's an Israelite. But the way she titled it, she said basically 300 counts of incest. This article says 315 sexual assault, but it's still incest. It says West Virginia man arrested Billie Jean Seabolt was arrested Wednesday and is being held on $1 million bond. It's dated May 1st, 2021. Rowan County, West Virginia. A West Virginia man is facing 315 charges for alleged sexual assault of a juvenile relative for 6 years, according to the criminal complaint. That looked weird. Billie Jean Seabolt, 25, Deneen, was arrested Wednesday. WOWK reported he was charged with one count of sexual abuse by a custodian or guardian, first-degree sexual assault, and 312 counts of incest. So basically, he has touched her 312 times. The television station reported the 312 counts represent one count for each week during the past 6 years. Oh, I was off. You know, I remember being incarcerated one time, and it was a guy that actually his girl basically was underage, and the mother didn't like it, so she, because she was underage, the mother pursued it, and he went to jail. Because at first, they presented like he was raping, but he explained, he like, no, that's my girl. He basically got her pregnant. But for whatever reason, the mother didn't like him. And, it could be a number of things. You know what I mean? You got situations with the mother want to fuck with the guy. You know what I mean? Like, there's all kind of shit going on. Anyhow, and basically they charged him with every time he literally had sex with her. So he was looking like at some goofy ass, count. But I end up seeing him though. After, because at the time, this was like my first time actually ever being incarcerated for a extended amount of time. And we both was in there for like 8 months in our county jail. And literally, like maybe a year later, I ended up seeing him. So obviously, the Lord didn't want him off in there. So, troopers interviewed a juvenile who allegedly said things of a sexual nature were taking place at Seabolt's home, according to the criminal complaint. The trooper contacted the Women and Children's Advocacy Center for a forensic interview. WOWK reported the criminal complaint states that during that interview, the juvenile allegedly claimed Seabolt had sexually assaulted her at least once a week from 2014 to 2017, and then again after 2018. The trooper then went to Seabolt's home and arrested him. Seabolt is being held in the Central Regional Jail on a $1 million bond, the television station reported. So that's the point, that's the article, and basically that's just showing you the mindset of this Red Hebrew Edomite. So I thought of a few scriptures when this came to mind. So, this is the book of Psalms, chapter 58, verse 2. Yea, in his heart ye work wickedness, ye weigh the violence of your hands in the earth. And who is this speaking on? Because if you start at verse 1, it says the chief musicians, to seeth Miktam of David. Do ye indeed speak righteousness, O congregation? Do ye judge uprightly, O ye sons of men? Yea, in heart ye work wickedness, yea, ye weigh the violence of your hands in the earth. Verse 3, this is the point. The wicked are estranged from the womb. When you go into exchange, adultery, strange, hence to be foreign. Profane, meaning when you go into the word, ultimately the meaning of profane is to be outside the temple. So that's why everything this man does is contradictory to the law, statutes, commandments, because no righteousness is in him. He's created to be the wicked. You got a righteous bloodline or nation, and you got a wicked nation, and all the other nations are basically just like extras, or like they're not significant to the story like that. They play a part, but they it's not a significant part. At the end of the day, verse 3, the wicked are estranged from the womb, they go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. And that's I remember it was a video on YouTube. It was an Edomite woman with the little fucked up ass, big head ass Edomite child, and I think it was a little girl, and she literally was like, she did something. She did it. I mean, the mother knew and everything, and basically she said Jake did it. She was like, a black man came and did it. I'm like, damn, you know what I mean? So that's proof of what we're saying. Soon as they be born, they speaking lies. Verse 4, their poison is like the poison of a serpent, and that's referring to, and that's why we call him a snake, the devil, a deceiver. You know what I mean? And the scriptures basically refer to him as a serpent, a snake, the red dragon. You know what I mean? When you go into a dragon, it's like a serpentine creature. They are like the deaf adder, which is another serpent that stoppeth her ears. And that's the point, at the end of the day, because this is going into a particular nationality of people, which is the wicked. And scripture tells you who the wicked is when you read the book of Malachi, chapter 1, verse 4, the border of wickedness. This is the book of Job, chapter 30, verse 1. But now that they that are younger than I have me in derisions, whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. And this is, Job speaking on, that nation of people, Esau, Edom, you know what I mean? He didn't even want them around his dogs because at the end of the day, look at their mindset. This child was put in this man's custody, and they're not going into detail because they probably don't, for whatever reason. You know what I mean? Because it's funny, let it have been Jake, they'll try and air out every fucking thing. They talking about DMX is on drugs, he got 12 kids. The fuck that got to do with this man dying? Like, what the matter of how many kids he got to do with him dying? You know what I mean? Like, that was the whole point. What you trying to relate? That's the information you relating. But you going into his kids. You going into he was on drugs. When the whole underlying thing was no. What happened was he literally, and he could have been doing drugs, but deep down in my spirit, I don't feel that. Want to know why? Because he literally was trying to get himself together. He was trying to call himself doing a comeback. Can't be on drugs doing that, brother. You got to remember he went through all kind of rehabs, all kind of shit. His family said that he had stopped doing drugs. So, people believe what the fuck Esau say, and that's what's going to get them destroyed for real. You believe in this, this serpent. It says, verse 2, yea, whereto might the strength of their hands profit me, in whom old age was perished. Verse 3, for what and famine they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness in former time, desolate and waste. Because they was basically chased away from, everybody that was civilized. You got to remember, I forgot what king was that in the scriptures that basically was pushing them off the cliff. You know what I mean? Like, I remember, the Caucasus Mountains, they don't want to actually bring up that history. But that's history, you know what I mean? Like, just like they try to cover up our history, but through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, it's ways. You came to all this, literally, like say, you go to, like the brother he had a job. One brother had a job, and he didn't obviously like the job because he left the job for whatever reason. But at that job, just that quick, he got a book, and the book was like not accurate about certain things. But whoever wrote it know that they Israel. But they actually took I just respected the book because they took the time to go get all the ancient images showing you Jake. Them Catholics, when they in the like the Pope and on them, when they in the Vatican, when they sitting up there doing whatever the fuck they doing, they know the images. It's a church in Cleveland. I remember when I was homeless, we went to it. It's on the west side. I remember exactly where it's at, but I can't remember the name. It's pictures and images in that church that literally show, the apostles in them of having color. You know what I mean? I can name a few places, you know what I mean? But so like I said, these people know that they inherited lies. It says, I didn't mean to go off topic. It says, who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots for the meat. Because they was eating like just like scavenging, eating off the, you know what I mean? They eating like animals, you know what I mean? They were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as after a thief. And this is the point. To dwell in the cliffs of the valley, in the caves of the earth, and in the rocks. Because they literally lived like cavemen. They're the least civilized people. You know what I mean? Like literally, like I say, at the end of the day, that's why look at and that's why it talks about being younger than I. Because look, you ever gave a person that don't really got no experience the helm of a leadership role, or gave them a position where they're in charge of something, and you can quickly see when a person has no experience how they fuck it up, and you can see that with how this society is ran. Like, that's why it's so much confusion and whatnot. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to literally give women charge when they know that actually stability comes from a man. But you purposely took out the man. I mean, of course they did that to our nation on purpose. But then you got Edomites that get caught up in that shit. Shit, I just was literally locked up. And a dude was in there. He was already on a case for domestic violence and got brought all the way back to our county. He talking about he getting charged with another domestic violence. And I'm like, damn. You know what I mean? And he ain't never, I guess, been through the situation. And I, in a similar situation, but I ain't never been through that. You know what I mean? And I know this much, though. The way that they got this law set up in Ohio, it don't matter who the fuck it is. Like, if they, like a family member or, your woman or whatever, they can hit you with domestic violence. But if it's another person, you can get, so I'm like, oh yeah, you looking, I mean, it's like, wait, fucked up, you know what I mean? Unless he got like some money, because he already on a bid with the one case. He's in a sentence, already been sentenced during the time for them to bring. That's showing you how thirsty they is. I mean, they could do some blessing type shit and run it concurrent, you know what I mean? And actually like run it concurrent so he ain't got to do more time. But the way they thirsty is, I mean, how thirsty they is, I mean, literally, it was a dude. He told me when we was both bonding out, he told me, shit, they literally, this case is from like a year ago. This is how back, I mean, I just did a video recently about it. Like, you got people that's on petty charges that ain't even been to court in like a year since last year, the pandemic. So what the fuck is you holding these people for? You release certain people, you release violent people, people get caught with a pistol, and they can have violence on their record, and they still let them out because they ain't get caught in the act of violence. But you keeping a person for domestic violence, but they not necessarily, because at the end of the day, you got to remember, women lie. It don't have to necessarily be he put his hands on her, because it could be a verbal domestic. They giving them stupid fucking bond. So this is, like I said, this is the mindset of this fucking devil. Let me hurry up and get through this, because yeah, you know how, you got I got little women. Trying to find First Corinthians. This is the book of First Corinthians. So at the end of the day, like I said, I brought that out to say all that you see this devil's mindset. This man literally was, and that's what make it even worse, because this person was supposed to be a relative. So, he had her confidence to being, basically, she probably so fucked up. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know how he got put in a situation for her to actually tell that he was touching her. But perfect example was with like that, with the three chicks that was kidnapped here. That one female, Amanda Berry, had a child with that man. You don't think that she had some kind of feelings towards him? Come on, he had her walking around. Why do you think she was able to literally go get help? He had her like with more freedom than the other one. He was having like that. That dude was having his way though. But to show you how fucked up, you know, they make it seem like it was such a house of horrors or whatnot. Like I said, when you go actually check into, you know, the story, literally it was a situation that happened. But then ultimately it's the Lord, because like I said, they was like prior. Basically, it was some kids that was left on the bus, some kind of shit. So he might have been attempting to try to kidnap them. But they never brought it up again, and you know, it was just kind of brushed off. Then the whole time he done kidnapped 3 kids and basically had them until they grown women. But that's ultimately, again, the judgment of the Most High. So that's how these Edomites think. Like I said, Job didn't want them around his dogs because if they had touched the dog, what you think they're going to do to your child? You see what they did to our people. These motherfuckers not only raped our women, but they raped some of the men. That's a terrible judgment. And that's the fear and the terror of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. But, you know, this is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 9. Know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of Yahweh? Be not deceived, neither fornicators, which that man is, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, nor abusers of themselves with mankind. I just literally said how Esau Edom was actually not only raping the women, but raping the men. Nor thieves, nor covetous, nor drunkards, nor revelers, nor extortioners shall inherit the kingdom of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. And Esau Edom is all those things. You got 2/3 of our people that are those things as well, but for the most part, you know, Esau Edom is pretty much all those. So let me get this last scripture to end this lesson. It's the book of Obadiah, chapter 1. I'm going to get straight to the point. This is the book of Obadiah. It's the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse. What is this? How did that happen? Salakia. It's the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 17. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. Because, you know, basically we're going to put the, you know, these red Hebrew Edomites into slavery. Into, because it tells you in scripture, basically, a man that killeth a man by the sword must be killed by the sword. You know what I mean? True retribution for the things that was done to the nation of Israel is, if we was put into slavery, the people that put us into slavery should be put into slavery. A check or these jobs or living the fake ass American dream. It's called American dream for a reason. You know, you got people stuck in American dream right now. Because, I mean, that's some scary shit. Again, like I said, I constantly think about that. That's one of the scary things about how cold the Most High is. Because you got people, you literally watching this shit crash and go down. I mean, things ain't the same. And I know in their spirit, the spirit got to be like, well, shit, you know. But they so, like, in this dream state, they can't see it. And then this shit going to turn into a nightmare on their ass. Verse 18, and the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame. And the house of Esau, that's the point, for stubble. I wanted to get it in matter of fact, I am gonna get in the blue letter so we can go into that word stubble. I suppose I actually got brought out certain things in Job, but mine a little bit, you know, running rapidly. It's verse 18. It said, so it shall be Joseph in a flame, and for, ain't that crazy? Esau ain't even mentioned in there. You don't think they tamper with the scriptures? And it say, woe to them that actually to remove or roughly paraphrase, that mess with this, you know, this scripture. Chafe. So it's like the ashes, straw from. Yeah, ain't no point. They removed the name Esau. Now you can put the name, and they shall kindle them in them and devour them. Let's see if the word kindle come in there. For stubble and And then they remove Esau out of every one. So that's how you know they know who the fuck they is. Come on, man. That might be Esau though. Esau, right? So it says, and kindled in them to burn, hotly pursue. So when brothers go into the script, that's the point. Brothers basically, so it says, "And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble." So it means the nation of Israel is going to take these red Hebrew Edomites after after their 1,000-year captivity, because they're going to serve servitude and be slaves onto the nation for 1,000 years, and then we're going to take them and we're going to burn them, like for a sacrifice. That's their judgment. And they shall be kindled in them and devoured them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau. For the Lord hath spoken it. And it ain't we saying this. The scripture just said, for the Lord Yahweh hath spoken it. So, and rightly so. It's just like when you go into scriptures and, you look at a homosexual, and then you see how their mindset is. They don't think nothing wrong with it. You got society so fucked up, they don't think nothing wrong with it. But then they'll get around your child, and that energy and that spirit is on your child, and then they fuck up your child. I remember, I think it was like a year back, they was talking about how, I forgot what city it was. It was this little, like, autistic child that was like 6, 7 or something like that. And basically the parents was allowing the child to actually go, because it was like a gay bar or a club or some shit like that. And they would let the child go there to perform. And the parents probably leaned back because of the fact they probably was paying the child. You know what I mean? The thing is, what people don't realize, homosexuals got a lot of money. It's nothing new. A lot of these old families that's been around forever, that got all this money, a lot of them are fucking faggots. Why do you think this? What? And the way that they did it was so cold. Like, this had been set up that they was going to legalize homosexuality. So yeah, I can see. That's why a lot of people allow their kids to go get into entertainment. You know what I mean? First of all, not understanding how many people try to do that and go that route. That's like, how many people try to go and be an NBA superstar or football player. The sorriest motherfucker in the league is better than your best player out here. Shaq used to look shitty shooting free throws. But then I remember watching him from on the Guinness Book of World Records, and he was basically, they had it was a child like 12 years old. He was already like 6 feet something. So they was like, he gonna be huge when he become 18. So his whole little admiration was to meet Shaq. So Shaq actually went and met him, and basically he was playing basketball with the little dude. And Shaq was hitting the free throws and hitting the jumpers and shit like that. His form shitty still, but So, the thing is, people don't understand when the game is on the line or some shit like that, it's a whole different amount of pressure and spirits and all that. So yeah, like pressure, is one thing to do something in your room, as opposed to another thing when you actually so skilled that you could bring out that skill in front of everybody. But not to digress, point being made that this red Hebrew Edomite is the devil and is going to be destroyed. Say of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. So if you're a so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, or be destroyed. It's a scripture that say all that were found onto them shall be thrust through. All you people that's actually putting your lot in with this red Hebrew Edomite, that's kingdom is falling in your face, is going to be destroyed. So with that, I want to end the lesson. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Kol Haloyim La Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai. Salaki, I'm going to bring that back. Kol Haloyim La Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai Ba'Hashem Rachak Thumb. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing his truth with faith and sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so. Shalom to the Akwat, as well as the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this was an edifying video. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but subscribing to this truth. To you, I say shalom. Until next time, I'm able to come with another lesson. Shalom, shalom, and Mawath Lababal.